Hello everyone, welcome to Redbus US channel. In this video, we'll look at the latest US immigration updates related to employment-based and green card for the week of June 1st to June 6th. So this is what we will cover in this video, mainly around the new H1B bill, what is the new ruling from the court that actually, vacates USC, the adjudication holds that the USC has been currently doing, and what's the impact on the processing times, in new immigration founders report, and other Dallas Housing boost, typical stuff, right, what we've been doing all these weeks. We try to do this every week. So if you want to subscribe to our channel, do subscribe for getting regular updates. So without further ado, let's get started. Just like a few weeks ago, there is another new H1B bill that was introduced introduced, and it's essentially it's by new chip bill. It's called American White Collar Worker Jobs Act of 2026. It was introduced on June 4th. Again, this is heavily covered by Indian media, but in all reality, right? I mean, the things that the bill wants to do are significant. This kind of builds upon the bill that we saw some time ago, which is End H1B Visa Abuse Act, which proposed like a 3-year ban on H1B and things like that. And this even goes further, to next level, like eliminating OPT entirely, ending green card pathway, removing the H1B dual intent, removing the lottery with wage base, which is already there, right, to some extent. And again, requiring employees to make good faith. I mean, some of these are quite generic, right? And companies cannot do basically layoffs, bars and companies that recently conduct layoffs from hiring H1Bs. So things like that, right? Again, these are some of the ones, and what they're also saying. Some of the key provisions from the bill are like new wage floor is about 75th percentile. Employees must pay 75th percentile wage, which is very significant. And they want to remove the cap from 65,000, which is currently set at 65,000 plus. The master's cap, remove the master's cap completely, and cut the 6 years H1B to 2 years, and also introduce per country caps for H1B allotment, and also cap the US workforce. You can't exceed 5%, and also penalties up to 100K, right? I mean, all of these, right? I mean, whatever. I mean, this is just a summary of what is out there, right? I mean, the odds of this making through are almost zero, or rather, I would say zero, because many of these kinds of bills get introduced every week or on a very frequent basis when there's an election year and things like that. They really don't go far, because they're just created to get some attention in the media, right? And we've seen many of these come and go. This is going to be no different. I think it will just not even come forward, So yeah, nothing to worry at the moment, right? Again, because we'll look at later in the session where we will see the kind of impact that immigrants had and why these kinds of bills that are completely like going to end the program or do significant damage to the program will never make it. So we'll look at that in later, things to see impact. So in short, if you are reading this and worried about the program, out of this, nothing to worry. This probably won't even get to next level, right? I mean, maybe very, to some extent. Okay, so that's the first one, related to H1B. The second one is a big one, not directly related to H1B visas, but the court actually vacated, means basically canceled the rule that basically held up all the people who were from these travel ban countries, right? So there were 4 USCIS policies that paused, adjudications for nationals from Afghanistan and 38 other countries, travel ban countries. So all of these are currently stuck. Essentially now, what USCIS have to do is they have to start processing all of them, right? So the key argument was, it violated Administrative Procedures Act. That's one of the fundamental things. And unlike travel ban, USCIS does not have the authority just to pause based on, based on a travel ban. These people are already in the country. So again, it's a huge document, but the key point is, it was cancelled, and the travel bans are not removed, they're not touched, but this is primarily targeted towards adjudication of USCIS for all of these, that have been stuck for a while. We expect that the government would make an appeal and they'll try to do an emergency stay. But again, as it stands, USCIS have to take an action and process that. So what it means for employment-based immigration or all of them, right? So if the court ruling stands, I mean, even if the appeal doesn't go through and all of that, right? I mean, as it stands as of today, USCIS will have to process all the of asylum cases. They have to process adjustment of status, that cases that are on hold from all of these 39 countries. They have to process EADs. They have to process naturalizations, and also they can't take past approvals. Can't be reopened solely based on nationality, right? So what it means basically for timelines, right? So basically tens of thousands of frozen cases that have been stuck suddenly are going to jump into the backlog bucket and they'll have to be processed. So short term, you will see a spike in the processing times for many of them, but also some green card numbers, already some of them have gone. So this also, there will be some adjustment to the green card numbers if this really makes it, because all of these applications are going to come back for adjustment of status, right? So that also will have some impact. And don't have an update on how US is going to handle this changes, right? So midterm is, they'll basically clear the freeze and do these things. So we'll see how this comes, right? So there'll be definitely a temporary bump in the processing times, and there may be some changes in the visa bulletin as well. Maybe we'll have to see how this turns out. But this is definitely a positive news because like for all the people who have been from these 39 countries, right? They've been like stuck in limbo because this is not really travel ban, but they've been in the country and they've been impacted because they couldn't process. So it's going to have a positive impact on all of these. So this has been like all over the internet. Or it came on a Friday. Last Friday it was kind of a different news, and this Friday it's a better news, right? How you see it. So that's the second part, right? The third one is there's another report by NFAP, which is a think tank that actually focuses on policy or on immigration, all of that, right? So they came out with a fundamental report that talks about some key highlights, right? 15% of US unicorns, about 455 or $775 billion companies have an immigrant founder. The collective value is about $5 trillion, right? And they're 24% of one in four had a founder who came as an international student. So, I mean, these are some stats you can read through, right? Top immigrant-founded companies include like SpaceX, OpenAI, Stripe, all of that, right? And so most of these international founders, they stay long-term via H1B and then get a green card, and that's the path. So this is the statistic that is very, very interesting, right? If you see 96 of the US billion-dollar companies were started by Indian origin founders, right? Or Indian founders, right? So founders that hail from 76 different countries. India leads, Israel has about 60. So this will be the countries of origin, may not definitely, that's what it means. So overall, the idea of this report is to tell the importance of immigrants and how the kind of impact they're making. So when you have this kind of strong statistics that are happening, and many of these founders go through this H1B path, bills like that we saw in the past, completely scrapping the program or like introducing really, really tough things to make the program not even function basically, right? So they will not really make it because there's going to be a lot of pushback from the industry and eventually, to the other side, right? So that's why I think those kind of reports, bills will never make it. That's the reason, right? Again, you can look at these slides and all of that, right? So, but this is very interesting statistics that tells that, how it's done. And again, this is something not related, but Dallas housing market is kind of bust because of the changes in the H1B workers. Again, this is covered by Bloomberg and some other New York Post and all of that. Pretty significant. But the key idea is what you can read what's on the slide, right? But the key idea is many of the areas in Dallas that had a tremendous housing growth are now do not have the same growth because of the changes in H1B program and H1B crackdown that's been happening. It could be 100K fees or the wage-based weighted selection or the layoffs that are happening. So all of these are basically contributing to this, housing market bust in Dallas area. But again, this is just one area that will be reported. But wherever you see immigrants, that are currently on H1Bs because of the overall job market and some of these changes, you will see this being reported. Again, important to keep an eye because of the current immigration environment that's out there. There will be definitely some of these. So this could also people don't want to take a big decision on the houses and all of that, right? So something for you to think about, right? Like if you're on that. Regarding H1B visa slots, again, there was no bulk H1B slots released this week. Again, sporadically they appear here and there. Those are all random slots that appear. They're not really bulk slots. So there's been a big problem. especially in India, right? If you the wait times are unpredictable, and you don't know how long it's going to take. So if you are in the US and planning to come, do not take a decision to come unless it's really really emergency, because the situation can really change your career trajectory, because you may get stuck for a very long time if something happens to your partner. Yeah. So that's the key parts. And what's ongoing from the last week is, we still are waiting on the duration of status rule, OMB, and the signature rule is going to be effective July 10th. So we have covered all of what you see on the screen in the past week. So you can go back to our past things to look at these, right? Some of the, the Texas, the probe is happening, and there's no progress on the H1B Visa Abuse Act. And other things, there are site visits and things are happening, right? So these are what's currently going on, right? Uh, to summarize the key takeaways from this week, there was a bill that was introduced to end the OPT program and do a lot of changes to H1B program. It is just introduced, so it's not going to make it. Just do not be worried when you see this, highlighted across the media. And the federal court vacated USCIS adjudication that holds for 13 and trial ban countries. I'd say it will have a nationwide effect. So what it will mean is that they will now process many of these as pending asylum case, adjustment of status, EAD, and all of that. So you'll see a bump in the processing times. So that's the key message there. And there's the report by NFAP where it told that about immigrants founded 59% of US unicorns, equaling about $5 trillion value. And the other big one is India leads with 96, of those having yeah, as in startup founders in those, right? And the impacts on housing market around Dallas with changes to H1B crackdown and all of these things, one statistic on that, right? And in terms of visa slots, we don't have that, something that is released. So that's the key updates from this week, folks. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do subscribe. We've been trying to do this for the last few weeks, and thankfully able to make it. So we would like to continue this weekly. We will do a quick summary of what has happened during the week, so that you can just tune in and just look at the major updates on H1B, green card, and anything related to employment, immigration, and F1s. Again, thank you for taking the time. Definitely subscribe. We'll continue to post the updates. Thanks again.